Hello, and welcome back to the Goodness Margin, the place where we find margin for the good things in life. This month, we've been focusing on minimalism, and today I am addressing a concern that so many people have when they begin the journey of minimalism. What about the guilt? The guilt that we feel with getting rid of things that are actually good things, things that someone else could definitely use, things that maybe we used to use, or even more so, I know personally, I felt guilt with the things that I got rid of that I had purchased, but I had never actually used. I would not be being truthful if I didn't tell you that it really stung when I went through my closet and I did a huge purge and realized there were things in that pile, some of them things that I was donating. They weren't even worth selling. They were not a high quality item, or maybe I'd had them a really long time and I knew that I would only get a few dollars. So I decided to donate them instead of selling them. And they still had the tag on them. So what do we do with that guilt that we feel? When I did my kitchen purge, I went through all of my cabinets and pulled everything out and really asked myself some really hard questions. I filled up my dining room table with things. I felt guilty. I felt a little bit of guilt of how wasteful it is that I have owned all of these things. And we had lived in our house less than 5 years. How had I already filled my cabinets and been so wasteful? So let's talk about that feeling of guilt. So first of all, we have to know that the reality is we've already spent the money. Sure, you bought this platter for $25 because you thought, oh, this will be perfect for Easter. Maybe you used it for Easter, but that was several years ago and you've never used it again. You know in your mind that you spent $25 on that. However, it's something that you're not going to be able to sell. If you were able to sell it, it would only be for a few dollars. And if you sell it in a garage sale, maybe you'll get $1 or $2 out of it. So typically we donate those items, but I feel this guilt. I have wasted $25. Well, rather than thinking I wasted $25, I should not have spent the $25. What a bad decision that I made. Let's not go down that road. Instead, let's say, okay, you know what? I made this decision. This probably was a mistake. Or maybe just say, okay, I got to enjoy this platter for our Easter dinner, and now that use is done, I'm going to donate this and pass it on to someone else who can use it. But not only that, I'm going to learn from my mistake. And what about those items that maybe your great Aunt Sally gave you this crystal platter for a wedding gift? I know I had some platters and things that I received as wedding gifts that had moved with us so many times. They were still in the box. They still had the packaging on them. I had never even taken them out. The boxes were starting to fall apart because we have now been married almost 20 years, but we moved in this house. We had been married over 10 years, and we had moved for over 10 years with these items, and I had never used them. Some of them were gifts. So what about that thoughtful gift? Someone decided to come to our wedding and give us this present, and yet I never even used it. Rather than feel guilty about that, what about if I donate this item? Or I had several things, and I have a friend that has a catering business. She does baby showers and all kinds of things like that. And so I sent her a photo of these items, and she took many of them off my hands because she was able to use them. So rather than think, oh, I am such a terrible person because I'm not using this gift that Great Aunt Sally gave me, Great Aunt Sally gave it to you because she loved you. It was the thought that counted. You received that gift with gratitude. Everything is fine. Don't worry about you haven't rejected the gift. But because you're not using it, why are we letting it take up space in our cabinet? Instead, let's pass it on to someone else, and that platter will get good use. Someone else will be able to use it, and that can help you to sort of let that guilt dissipate. Many times we allow the guilt to cause us to keep things in our cupboards or to keep things in our closets or in our storage areas or wherever. And all that's doing is taking up space. It's not being used. And as we go down that line, we can really begin to see how that absolutely makes no sense when we stop to really think about it. So rather than feel guilty, go ahead and take that stuff out of your life. Take those things out of your cabinets, out of your closets. Give yourself that space back that you can have the things in it that you really use, the things that you really love. And give that item new life by donating it or selling it and passing it on to someone else who will use it. And then let's take it a step further. Let's really learn from that. Next time you're at TJ Maxx or at Home Goods and you see that beautiful platter for $20, or maybe it's even on clearance for $5, we put it in our cart, we walk around the store. Let's take a minute and think before we head to the checkout lane, is this a platter that I am going to use on a regular basis? Is this something that I already have a platter that has this function? And if you do, are you going to replace it with this platter? Or are you just adding this to your cupboards? And again, this is going to be something that down the road, you're going to end up purging later. Take that guilt, turn it around, make it a lesson, learn from it. We're not going to make these mistakes again. Rather than focusing on the guilt and feeling terrible because I am so wasteful, instead, I'm going to pass these things on, give those items new life to someone who will love them, who will enjoy them, that will use them. And I'm going to learn from this in my own life and not make these same mistakes again. I know that minimalism has allowed my life to have a lot of margin for the good things, and I truly believe it will in your life as well. Guilt is not one of the good things, so just let that go. If you've enjoyed these videos, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you'll be notified when the next video goes live.